Imagine that the hip-hop world has just taken an incredible turn. Imagine that after being imprisoned for his explosive drug deal, Jim Jones is now being investigated. And now there are rumors that Camron Harm's own Pink Panther may be next on the radar. Yes, you read correctly. Fans are shocked, and their emotions are running high on social media as the rumors turn into full-fledged headlines. Can this be a case of guilt by association, or is there something more sinister simmering in the shadows of Harlem's most renowned rap sources close to them? Hold on to your seats, because this story is just getting started. According to Dipset's Inner Circle, federal agents are searching through old phone logs, financial records, and even private text threads in an attempt to find the smoking gun. The family was split, with some claiming Camron is innocent and others whispering that he has been hiding secrets for years. The conflict is real, the drama is high, and one question is more pressing than ever. Is Dipset going through its darkest hour? The courtroom doors swung open again, and Camron entered the room with a heavy heart. The prosecution turned to a new piece of evidence: surveillance footage from a warehouse on the outskirts of the city. In the grainy black and white clip, a figure resembling Cam moved through stacks of boxes, speaking in hushed tones with a known associate of Jim Jones. As they approached the bench, cameras clicked in rapid-fire succession, but Cam refused to meet their gaze, instead focusing on the polished floor tiles, as if mapping out a path to safety that might not exist inside the stifling courtroom. We have testimony that on March 12th, Mr. Carter met with Mr. Jones, the prosecutor, using Cam's real name. They talked about delivery logistics and profit splits, and the room held its breath. Jomal, the road manager for Dipset, was sitting in the gallery, his heart pounding. He had sworn to protect the group's reputation, but now he felt helpless. He looked at his phone, and his social media feeds exploded with Cam linked to the drug ring headlines, shocking and testing the fans' faith. Removing it, what if the lyrics they wrote about brotherhood and loyalty sounded hollow? The family was split. Some demanded an immediate public statement, while others urged silence until the truth came out. In a nearby studio, Jadakiss paced like a caged lion, having flown in from love for support, only to be blindsided by the warehouse footage. "That's bullshit," he muttered, replaying the video on his phone cam, which was there scouting beats, not counting bricks. His producer Tone put a comforting hand on his shoulder and said, "We'll get to the bottom of this," with a quivering voice. Jadakiss nodded, but doubt gnawed inside him. Smell of fresh ink on recording contracts, the unbreakable bond forged in adversity. Now those memories felt like smoke in the wind. Back at the courthouse entrance, a swarm of press and protesters clashed. A group holding free camera signs squared off against a smaller, more agitated crowd, claiming "no one is above the law" chants filled the air and sirens wailed in the distance. A teenage fan, Riley, shouted, tears in her voice, "He's innocent, I swear it." Across the street, an onlooker snapped, "Dipset is dead." While deep within the Fairfield field office, agents were huddled around a conference table covered in documents. They traced phone calls, bank transfers, and email headers, piecing together what they hoped would be a bulletproof case. One veteran agent, Rachel, pointed to a ledger that noted a series of cash withdrawals timed precisely with Jim Jones's shipments. 2 entries bore Cam's initials and sloppy handwriting that is suspicious. Her partner, Mark, frowned, "But we need more than initials." Rachel nodded, tapping her pen wet subpoena to every transaction. That the courtroom gasped as the prosecution's lead investigator, Agent Hughes, read the revelation. The judge paused, adjusting his spectacles to confirm what he had heard for a moment. It seemed like Cam might have caught a break. The tension in his shoulders eased slightly, only to be replaced by lingering dread. The grind of paperwork and legal motions mirrored the tension building on the streets as the afternoon sun dipped low. but a new twist erupted. Cam's defense team produced a text message chain revealing that the initials were a coded reference to Curtis, a nickname for a childhood friend, not Cam. The public square had turned into a digital coliseum, and Cam was at its center. He watched it all unfold from the sidelines, heart heavy with regret that his name had ever appeared in the same breath as illicit deals at home, while the rumor mill churned faster late-night talk shows seized on the text bomb show, speculating wildly about Cam's involvement. One host, Blair, asked, "Did Cam get away with it?" While another countered, "Or is this just a diversion?" Leave her bedroom red with tears, their mother Donna made care packages for him, packing homemade sandwiches and a handwritten letter reminding him that family is important. She wrote, "Remember who you are." However, even her unwavering optimism had cracks. That morning, she left her window jar open, listening for police sirens that might portend the worst. Each distant wail made her heart race. In stark contrast, Jim Jones sat in his cell, smirking at the news that Cam's name was splashed across headlines. He tapped his finger on the bars amusedly. "Dipset's legacy ends with you, Cam," he said to himself. His plan to weaken Cam and take control of Dipset had succeeded beyond his wildest dreams. Meanwhile, Jules Santana remained a wild card. He had stayed out of the storm publicly, but insiders claim he met with Cam in secret one night to offer support and insider information. "We'll weather this," Jules told him. "Just stick to the truth." Cam nodded gratefully but exhausted. Counsel Dawn met with him through a glass partition. She brought news of the text message bombshell Jones laughed low, allowing them to fight over crumbs. Their relationship, which had been forged through common struggles, had never been more important, but Jules himself was under scrutiny. Some people conjectured that he was negotiating his position with federal prosecutors, offering testimony in exchange for leniency, but betrayal lurked around every corner. As night fell, the city buzzed, with the bright lights of Harlem's clubs and studios standing out against the dark headlines that dominated news feeds. Dipset's empire, which had once been built on unity and swagger, now teetered on the brink. Loyalty was put to the test, rumors were common, and every new development felt like a blow to Camron. The battle was not just about clearing his name, it was about preserving a legacy. As he prepared to return to that courtroom the following morning, he knew he couldn't do it alone. Part 1 ends with Cam silently resolving to fight back, clutching his lawyer's hand and whispering, "I won't let them take everything from me." The echo of his promise lingered in the air, setting the stage for the next chapter in a saga that had only just begun. As soon as Camron whispered those words, a new determination settled over him like armor. He had tasted fear, but now he was ready to fight back. Suddenly, the courtroom door opened again, and the next witness was identified as Marcus "Slick" Davis Slick, a former Dipset roadie. Shuffled to the stand, eyes darting, sweat beeping at his hairline, and he cleared his throat. "I carried dozens of packages for Jim Jones, and he started to speak incoherently, but I never saw Camron touch any of them." The prosecution pounced Mr. Davis. "Could you explain why your logs show a drop-off near Camron's studio?" "I was doing my job, and the drop-offs were by Jez, not by person." Murmurs reverberated throughout the courtroom, and Camron exhaled slowly, a flicker of hope in his eyes. Outside, the media circus had escalated a live feed from a well-known hip-hop news channel and cut to an anchor Jade, who leaned into the camera. Fans are shocked as Slick's testimony raises more. In the meantime, Camron's legal team took advantage of Slick's testimony. Attorney Marcus Reed delivered a fiery rebuttal voice steady, saying, "We have absolutely zero evidence placing Mr. Carter at any criminal operation. All we've seen is hearsay speculation and circumstantial at best." As the segment came to an end, comments flooded in, with some calling him a liar and others praising his courage. Is this evidence of a frame-up? Her co-host Trey nodded vigorously. We're seeing emotions run high online as #FreeMan trending once again, but so are demands for accountability. Later that afternoon, Jules Santana entered the courtroom wearing a hooded jacket and sunglasses to conceal his face as he took the stand. The prosecution questioned him about his loyalty, asking, "Mr. Santana, have you ever witnessed Camron involved in illegal activities?" After a long silence, Jules shifted uneasily. At the precise hours in question, Camron was recording vocals for his upcoming album. And we have producers, engineers, and timestamp files to prove it. Cam nodded, relief washing over his face. He responded, "I've seen Cam involved in the music art business, but never in anything shady. We grew up together, and he's always been about the culture, not the crime." The courtroom erupted as fans outside cheered for Jules's name. Their support reignited, and emotions ran high as flashbulbs popped, capturing every moment of Jules's defense. However, just when it appeared that Camron might clear his name, a private investigator for the defense, Lindsay Cole, revealed a twist. She had discovered surveillance footage from a luxury car dealership where Camron met the same Jim Jones lieutenant weeks prior to the arrest. The prosecution gasped when she played the clip, which showed Camron and the lieutenant walking side by side, their voices low as they exchanged what appeared to be an envelope. Lindsay's voice was calm as she stated, "A closer examination reveals that the package contains promotional flyers for a forthcoming charity event rather than cash or illegal items. We can't ignore this," she said to her partner Mark, "because it suggests uncanny coordination if it wasn't deliberate." She held up the actual flyer, which was blazing with charity logos and event dates. The prosecution grimaced, but doubt had returned. Meanwhile, deep in the Fez Mobile Command Center parked across the street, Special Agent Rachel Furrow studied a map of phone paths. She tapped a point where Cameron's phone and a known Jones Associates device had pins only seconds apart, miles apart. In another part of the city, Cameron's grandmother held a small prayer ritual as friends and family gathered at her brownstone, candles flickering in the cool evening air. Kira clutched her brother's old baseball cap, tears glistening, whispering, "We need a sign." Someone lit a sparkler, and for a moment, the flames danced like hope. Or swapped. "I need conclusive proof," tying the device to Cam. Rachel nodded, her face full of frustration. The family was split after their mother Donna threw a few rose petals into the wind. Some remained steadfast in their faith in the legal system, while others mused about corruption and plots. But in that circle of light, they swore to stand united, no matter the outcome. Back at the courthouse, Camron slumped in the hallway, exhaustion heavy in his bones. A journalist approached microphone, extended. "Cam, do you have any comment on the latest surveillance revelation?" Cam shook his head slowly. "I'm tired of rumors. I just want to clear my name and get back to my life and my music." His voice trembled. The reporter pressed on. "Are you afraid the feds will keep digging?" Cam paused, then squared his shoulders. "I'm not afraid they'll find nothing, because I did nothing wrong with that." He turned and walked away, a solitary figure swallowed by the gray courthouse walls. The following morning, a leaked document from the prosecution's files hit the internet, a series of emails between Cameron's publicist and As the document spread, every news outlet scrambled to understand its meaning. Cam's phone buzzed nonstop with alerts. Fans texted, worried friends called, loyalties wavered, and the line between truth and rumor blurred. Despite the chaos, Cam remained focused and holed up in a private studio with his core team, Jabekis, Tom, and Linskol, to strategize. They played out possible scenarios from full exoneration to a plea deal, and Jabekis slammed his fist on the table. The stakes had never been higher outside of Camron's world, which felt like it was under siege. But as the city's lights flickered on, a sense of resilience filled the air. The woman hustled on break, the dancers spun on cardboard squares, the vendors hopped to miles away, and the distant beat of late-night ciphers pulsed in alleyways. I'll schedule a live stream cam so that I can speak directly to fans and warn them that we must stick to the facts because any mistake could backfire. Stand up for it. As part 2 comes to an end, there is a hush over the city's hip-hop heartbeat. In just a few hours, the camera crew is ready, and every fan is on edge. The story may change again, or it may reinforce the argument for his innocence. The journey from rumors to headlines had brought them to this point, where truth or destruction was imminent. With those last breaths of anticipation, the stage is set for part 3, where allegiances will be put to the test, secrets will be revealed, and Dipset's future hangs in the balance. The live stream started with a low hum of anticipation. Behind the scenes, Jadakis paced off camera, checking his watch every few seconds, checking the stream's technical fee to ensure there were no glitches, while Lindsay Cole sat with a printed transcript of key points, ready to intervene if needed at home. Cam's grandmother tuned in on her old television set, praying every time Cam took a breath, and Hero watched from her room as he leaned forward, hands clasped, and spoke directly to his fans, telling them that he was here to set the record straight. With tears in her eyes and hope in her heart, she clutched a pillow as the camera continued to detail his alibi, including studio logs, producer affidavits, and time-stamped video footage of him recording tracks during the alleged drug drop dates. He acknowledged the confusion surrounding the warehouse footage, clarifying that the meeting was for the logistics of a charity event. He even turned the flyer on camera so viewers could read the fine print. "This is real," he said quietly. "This is what I was doing." As fans typed, "We believe you," emotions were running high. "And provide them with evidence in a..." The screen flickered, a notification appeared about breaking news, and the live stream paused before switching to a split screen that showed a live feed of the courthouse entrance. Reporters hovered around a black sub, from which stepped a tall figure wearing sunglasses and a hoodie. The camera zoomed in on the license plate, which matched the one used by Jim Jones' legal team, Cam's face on StreamPauled. The broadcast returned to Cam after he murmured, leaning closer to the camera, but the damage had already been done, and social media blew up. The line between truth and manipulation became even more hazy as conspiracy theories and new accusations erupted. Some fans cried, "Foul play, Jones is pulling strings from behind bars." Had Jones's team planted that card to make it appear that Cam was communicating with Jones's lawyers in secret, or was Cam's defense sending conflicting signals? Others believed that Cam was concealing something once more, and when Cam's lawyer, Marcus Reed, arrived at the courthouse, there was chaos because the black object was parked prominently close to the press area, attracting camera crews like Mose to a flame Reed, who leaped out and marched toward the car, demanding answers. As evidence from the prosecution, he yelled, "I'm going back to court tomorrow, and we'll fight this head on." And he took a deep breath. "We're not done," he said, forcing composure, "and we're going back to court tomorrow, and we're going to fight this head on." Having authorized this, a nervous Beauf approached and stammered. "They're planning props," he shouted, and inside he found a sealed envelope labeled Exhibit 47 bits, which contained surveillance logs of phone conversations between Cam and an unnamed number hours prior to the warehouse meeting. He signed, "Hoff release additional evidence shortly." As the stream came to an end, the screen went black, but the conversation persisted, and hashtags changed from #Freemaron to #Exhibit 47B, igniting yet another flurry of speculative activity. The following morning, part 3 of this story took place, and the court reconvened with heightened tension. The prosecution called its next witness, a tech specialist named Holly Yang, who testified about the phone logs in Exhibit 47 bits. She described how call metadata showed that Cam's device pinged near the warehouse coordinates at precisely the times in question. The jury leaned in, taking in every detail. Exact frequency ranges, cell towers, and timestamps were used as an explanation. As soon as the courtroom was wrapped, the Cam's pals exchanged anxious looks, and the Gentakis sitting behind him whispered, "They're trying to drown us in data." Tone gave Cam a supportive shoulder squeeze as Lindsay flipped through the notes, her eyes narrowing, and she raised her hand for a sidebar with Reed. Reed knew that this exhibit could change everything, so he asked for cross-examination in order to find any weaknesses in Holly's analysis. Outside the news vans, there were bumper-to-bumper anchors waiting to jump on every reaction, and a ma'am from a nearby mosque stood amid the media, asking for prayers for justice, as a group of rappers peacefully demonstrated half a block away with signs that said, "Truth will win and justice for Camron will be served." The air crackled with adrenaline. Everyone had picked a side, but deeper questions lingered. Was this about justice or fame or power inside the courtroom? Reed began cross-examination. He questioned Holly on the reliability of phone pings citing cases where devices were spoofed. He challenged the assumption that only Cam's phone could have triggered the logs. "Did you confirm the device's SIN card belonged to Mr. Carter?" He asked Holly, who hesitated before admitting that she had relied on metadata provided by the FIVI rather than direct SIN registration records. A hush of surprise rang through the room, but the judge's doubt was sound. Meanwhile, rumors circulated that Jill Santana had met privately with Agent Rachel from the FFI, and he offered to share insights into Dipset's internal dealings in exchange for leniency on an unrelated charge. Some saw this as betrayal, while others saw it as a strategic survival tactic. As the family was left divided once more, this time by questions of loyalty among themselves, amid the chaos and unexpected. When the defense called a warehouse clerk named Luis Rodriguez to testify, he detailed the day of the alleged drop-off in detail. He said, "I saw a black sub pull up, but the driver never left the vehicle. They just scanned codes on a clipbook, then left." Luis then pointed to a video clip that showed the sub's mirror and partial plate matching the one parked outside the courthouse. He emphasized that no one got out and nothing was unloaded. The jury watched intently, exchanging glances for the first time. The defense had a tangible eyewitness rebuttal to the prosecution's narrative, and his relief was evident as he exhaled slowly, his eyes glistening, and he patted his back. "This is one battle, not the war," Lynn said. She reminded them that the feds still had other exhibits and that there might be more surprises. Cam nodded, acknowledging that there were still a lot of rounds left in the hallway after the court reporters demanded statements. Cam then stepped out onto the marble steps with Reed and Jules at his sides, microphones thrust forward, cameras burning. He cleared his throat, saying firmly, "I'm innocent and I'll." Flashes popped as he said, "Continue to prove it." Supporters chanted, "Cam strong," while skeptics mumbled, "We'll see." As Part 3 comes to an end, the scope of this drama becomes evident. It's not just a legal battle, but a struggle for identity, legacy, and power in an industry built on image. The players, Cam Jones, their allies, and adversaries, have all staked their reputations with each new exhibit and testimony. The stakes grow higher with each new exhibit and testimony. Loyalties waver, alliances shift, and every twist threatens to reshape the narrative. The hip-hop world waits on edge to see which side of. When the final verdict is rendered, the tension in the courtroom will have barely subsided when a new bombshell was dropped. An anonymous envelope, slipped to Camron's lawyer under strict confidentiality, contained a rough-hewn audio clip purportedly recorded during Jim Jones' initial arrest. In the grainy recording, a voice that unmistakably resembled Jones taunts someone off mic, saying, "You think you're clean, Cam, we all got dirt on us." The clip ended abruptly, causing the defense team to erupt in hushed gasps. Tyree spun in his chair, eyes wide, and mumbled, "This is going to reignite everything," as his jaw clenched. Reacted like tinder to a spark, impromptu crowds gathered around news vans, chanting both for and against Cam. Dipset for Reva battled with justice for Jim Jones in a cacophony of loyalty and doubt on social media. The audio clip went viral under the hashtag Dipset Dilemma, trending faster than any previous hashtag in the saga, with influencers weighing in from makeshift sets, some declaring that Cam was a step away from disgrace and others supporting his innocence. In a cryptic tweet, Jatakis said, "Simply truth surfaced." The family was split for the third time. Jill Santana retweeted these too. In the meantime, in a dimly lit safe house, Agent Rachel Furrow listened to the clip with a furrowed brow. She repeatedly paused it to isolate background noises, such as a distant siren, a muffled conversation, a metallic clang, and a distant siren. Her partner Mark scowled when she played back a section where she thought another voice whispered, "Meet me at the brownstone." Mark warned, "If it's real, that might be a trap." Rachel tapped her pen against her notebook, "Or it might be the key we need to connect Cam straight to Jones's network." The line, when the lines between evidence and manipulation blurred again, Lynn Cam's investigator hurried across town to find any evidence of the recording's origin. She went to the off-the-book studio where Jim Jones had recorded freestyles, questioning engineers and interns. Most of them claimed ignorance until a shaky intern named Lee confessed that she had seen Jones using a crude voice recorder during a late-night session. He said he wanted to capture real street talk. She recalled his trembling voice, but Lee insisted that Jones never mentioned Cam by name. "I feared it was nothing until I heard that tape, and then I left with both hope and dread swirling back at Cam's grandmother's brownstone." When Cam's family's elderly neighbors in Harlem's skyline whispered prayers and shook their heads, one neighbor said in a trembling voice, "This has gone too far." Donna Pam's mother clutched her grandson's childhood jacket, her tears soaking the fabric, refusing to leave until she heard from Cam himself. Her relief was evident but fleeting as she listened quietly as Cam's voice cracked. "They've dug up new dirt, ma." React, "We'll hold on, baby, we'll hold on" amid this whirlwind of rival music, collective sensed opportunity. Stealthily, they leaked remixed versions of the audio clip. Paired with beats that mimic Dipset's signature style, the tracks went viral overnight, flooding streaming platforms and meme pages. Listeners argued over the authenticity and ethical implications. But the audio's reach was undeniable. Dipset's brand, built on swagger and unity, was now used as clickbait, the rival collective's anonymous producer gloated in a private chat. "We got them right where we want them." The battlefield had spread from the courthouse to every screen and headset in a smoke-filled backroom of the downtown club. Jatakis called a summit of close allies, Tone Tyrese, and a few trusted friends. The air was heavy with cigarette smoke and the sound of distant bass Jatakis. He spoke in a low but urgent voice, saying, "We can't play defense forever. It's time for a counter-strike." He suggested releasing a documentary-style video that would feature footage of Cam's charitable work from childhood and candid interviews with family members. "Let the world see the real him," he said. Tyrese nodded, and Tone took out his phone to begin formulating interview questions. The plan provided a glimmer of control in a sea of chaos, but even as they plotted, suspicions circulated among their own ranks. No public statement confirmed that the feds had met with Agent Hughes in secret to discuss a cooperation deal, but rumors circulated in the streets that Jules's loyalty was waning. A mysterious message appeared on an anonymous blog called "Loyalty's Price Just Went Up." The tension was evident when Jadakis confronted Jules backstage at a charity concert. "Are you in this with us or not?" he demanded. Jules' response was measured. "I'm here for Cam, but I'll do whatever keeps Tight-Head alive." The ambiguity only deepened the schism. The seats in the control room felt like ghosts of past victories. He pressed record and started a passionate monologue into the microphone. Not for a song, but for "Isn't just about me. It's about truth over noise." His voice broke as he described the highs and lows of his career, the bonds formed through hardship, and the anguish of betrayal. He put his heart into the tape in the hopes that it would counter the audio bombshell and win over those who are still undecided. As part 4 comes to an end, the scene of this story has changed once more, with alliances falling apart and loyalties remaining uncertain. Dipset's empire is at a crossroads, with unity and vindication on one side and fragmentation and ruin on the other. The next chapter is expected to be even more explosive as the days that followed felt like a whirlwind of pressure and purpose, as Camron gets ready to unveil his documentary Counter-Strike, and the feds prepare their next move. The stakes have never been higher, and the world watches in suspense for the moment that will define Harlem's most legendary rap collective. When Ron and his team unveiled their documentary Counter-Strike, a raw 10-minute video that traced his journey from neighborhood ciphers to global stages, highlighting moments of struggle, triumph, and undeniable impact, fans reacted immediately. Some praised the authenticity, while others questioned its timing. Whether this was a sincere request for understanding or damage control. Meanwhile, the fan discreetly filed new motions, and agent Rachel Furrow obtained a warrant to look through Cam's social media ads in search of hidden communication patterns connected to Jones's network. At the same time, the prosecution prepared Exhibit 63, which is a chain of emails between Jones's lawyer and a shell company connected to Cam's clothing line. The emails mentioned shipments labeled merch that actually contained unmarked packages on the courtroom steps. Reporters speculated that this might be the smoking gun they needed. Jules Santana found himself in a difficult situation, and the rumored meeting with the feds had been more than just a rumor. He had offered to cooperate in exchange for immunity on a. Backstage at a sold-out show, Jadakis confronted him again. His heart pounded as he weighed loyalty against self-preservation. Voices glowed with tension. "You have my back," Jadakis reminded him. Julienne's eyes flickered with guilt. "I'm trying to protect us all," he replied, ambiguously enough to keep hope and suspicion equally alive. At home, Cam's grandmother lit candles in every room and recited old prayers she had learned as a child in an attempt to protect her grandson from the storm. His sister Kiara organized a social media flash mob, with fans posting childhood photos of Cam with the hashtag #RememberCamron. The movement trended globally for hours, a display of collective memory that briefly shifted the narrative back toward unity and nostalgia on the prosecution side. In the defense war room, Linz Cole found a discrepancy. The shell company's address was linked to a mailbox service used by a known rival rapper. She hurried to the judge's chambers with affidavit and bank statements, proving the address belonged to the rival and not Cam's business. Holly Yang presented Exhibit 47 Bits Redux, a forensic report confirming the metadata on the clothing line shipments matched the contested timeframes. She explained how the packaging addresses corresponded to the warehouse where Jones' operation had been based. The judge looked over the documents and agreed. As Part 5 comes to an end, the storm has reached a fever pitch. The story of Camron's alleged involvement in Jim Jones's case is unfolding like a high-stakes drama, with the courtroom sitting on a nice edge where truth and manipulation dance in the spotlight. Loyalties being tested, reputations caught in the crossfire, and its legacy hanging in the balance with every revelation. The prosecution's lead attorney slammed his fist on the desk and swore under his breath to strike Exhibit 63 pending further investigation. And for the soul of Harlem's most recognizable rap collective, the intensity has never been higher. You followed every turn, every leak file, every act of loyalty, and every betrayal. Now tell us what you think will happen next. Do you think Camron will clear his name once and for all? Or has the damage been done? Share your theories in the comments section below. And if you're supporting justice, hit subscribe and ring the bell so you don't miss part 6 of this epic saga. Anything can happen in this story, and you won't want to miss a second of it.